Hello, everybody. I am meteorologist Jim Rinaldi, and I want to take a look here and show you different things going on with this storm and what could be happening, why it could be happening, and where I think there could be some significant snows possibly. And I'll show you why. We'll start in with the GFS, and I'll start out by saying I do not believe the GFS solution. GFS stands for Global Forecasting System. I say it stands for good for something. You can put your own S word in there at your leisure, but we'll say something for now. But anyway, this is what it shows, and right here you can see here's our southern branch energy. First of all, here's our first piece of northern branch energy. Second piece coming in up here. This is valid 0Z Monday, Sunday evening. We'll go ahead to Monday morning. And you can see there's our southern branch heading for the coast. And here's our northern branch here with the secondary piece coming around. Now, I want you to notice what this does, okay? What we want to see happen is we want this to dig down into the Ohio and Tennessee Valley if we want to see a nice storm developing. Well, watch what happens. Pretty much, this is just going due east. Now, here comes that second piece coming around the bend here. There's our southern branch energy out here. We'll go ahead here. Now, it is starting to dig a little bit more. It did dig a little bit more on the 18Z run than it did on the 12Z run. Here we are at the 12Z Tuesday. We'll go ahead to 0Z Wednesday, and there you can see there's our energy. But it's still not really digging all that much. It's still moving pretty much west to east. Digging a little bit, but not all that much. And then finally, it cuts off here over Cape Cod, or just a little bit west of Cape Cod in there. Now, what happens at the surface is here we have 0Z on Tuesday, Monday evening. Just have this weak little low there off the coast. And it does start to develop then as we head through 12Z Tuesday, 0Z Wednesday. There's a nice low off of Cape Cod. You get nice snows back through here. But it really doesn't develop and bomb out until it's well north. Now we'll go ahead here and look at, there it is there, really starting to bomb out a little bit there. I'll go ahead here and look at the Canadian model, and we'll show you the differences that it has. Now here we start again, 0Z Monday, Sunday evening. There's our energy, there's our southern branch. Southern branch a little better defined here than it was on the GFS. We'll go ahead here, and there it is heading for the coast. Now here comes our secondary energy here, and watch what happens. This is going to dig. See how that digs now, and see how that's starting to cut off? See, this digs a lot more on the Canadian than it did on the GFS. Go out here to 0Z Wednesday. You see you have a nice trough here in the east digging down, and not really phasing, but it is certainly a better organized system than the GFS showed. And there we are at 120. Now, here is the difference here. Here is the Tuesday evening Canadian, the Monday evening Canadian, as compared to the GFS, which just had that weak little low down in here. And they'll show you that comparison. There's the GFS. This is the same time period. Canadian. GFS, Canadian. GFS, Canadian. I mean, it's just night and day because the Canadian is digging that second feature down, and it's not the first northern branch feature is not just coming west to east across there. It's digging down with it and cutting off much sooner. So therefore, you get a low that's bombing out much quicker. Now, I think the Canadian is a little bit too overdone and too far west with this system. We'll see how that works out. That's kind of my original thought with that. But I think that this and the European model are certainly much closer to the truth than the GFS is. I think the GFS is just completely lost and out to lunch, and that's pretty much par for the course. And here we go. Here comes the low coming up here over western Long Island. And again, I think that's a little bit too far west. See it a little bit further east, but I think this scenario is much more likely, again, than the GFS. And there's the no, is that the different time frame then? Okay, now here's the European. We go into the Penn State EWAL site for the European because we don't want Dr. Maui to hunt me down and bash me over the head with a tablet or something like that. So we'll just we'll go to the Penn State site for this. And again, here we go. Here's our original upper level energy. Here comes the second piece coming around here. We'll go ahead here, and you can see now this is really digging. Okay, this is 12Z Tuesday, really digging in. Going and here it just cuts off completely over the Delmarva. Now, this again may be overdone, maybe a little bit further north that it cuts off, but this is not out of the question that this happens either. And you can see the surface reflection bears that out, and it shows what would happen if that were to occur. And we'll go ahead here and go back to the Canadian. What I want to show you here, the 850 millibar low. Now, this is a little one of those rules of thumb things that I've noticed, and talked about when I was at school and everything. Usually, when you take the 850 millibar low, and you go about 60 to 90 miles to the west or the north of that track, basically to the left of the storm track, that's where you're going to see your areas of heavier snow. Okay, so show you where that's there. Here it is. Here, I'll show you where your 850 millibar low is here, in case you can't see it. These lines are a little hard to see. So we have the 850 millibar low right there. Okay, so we'll turn that off so I can go to the next frame. And there, I think you can see it a little bit clearer there, but I'll draw it in anyway. Right in here. So we're basically tracking it from about here to about here. So you go 60 to 90 miles to the west of that, and you're looking at this area in here for your band of heavier snow. So I think I've said this on Twitter and to other people, that I'm thinking that right now the mountains of West Virginia through the Lower Highlands, the Appalachians through central Pennsylvania, I think the Poconos get in on it, and then into central in New York through interior New England. I think that's where you're going to see the best chance for your more appreciable snow. And there's the upper level low now coming in there. And again, this may be overdone, maybe a little too far west. Typically these systems, they start out east, they come back too far west, and they adjust back a little bit east again. That's kind of what I think might happen, but we'll have to see how that works out. Now we'll go here, and I want to show you here now the different thicknesses. Another thing you want to look for is the 1,500 millibar thickness ridge. And what I mean by that is, well, I think you know what a ridge is. And you just look for where that occurs with the 500 millibar, 1,500 millibar thicknesses. I think you can see there's a ridging in there. And under that axis is where you typically get your heavier snow once you're in the colder air. We'll go ahead here to the next frame. There we go. And you can see I have that right? Yeah. And you can see again, here's our thickness ridge back through here like that. And under that region is going, and that's pretty much the same region we saw the 850 millibar low track rule come into play. So again, it's showing pretty much the same areas. This is the Canadian, and again, this may be overdone a little bit too far west. So maybe it could snow a little bit further east. But here's the problem that I see as far as getting snow to the I-95 and the coast. I want to show you this here. Here's our 1,850 millibar thicknesses. Now you look at this and you can see that we're pretty much below critical all the way, all the way through here. That's all below critical a lot of places. At least right at critical anyway for a lot of places. Go ahead here to 12Z Tuesday, and again, there's a lot of near or below critical 850 millibar thickness lines going through there. But here's the problem. Go to 850, 700, and look how warm the mid-levels are. The mid-levels are getting flooded with warm air because there's no real cold air in place to stop that from happening. So there's low-level cold air, but the mid-level cold air is gone. It's being eroded away. And you can see here that continues as we head into the day on Tuesday. Now, one thing I will say is that if this 500 millibar low cuts off, we have a strong cutoff low somewhere in in this region here. If it cuts off here, or whatever, you're going to be creating some dynamically driven cold air, and that could erode away that warm air. So I'm not going to sit here and say it's impossible that we see snow to the I-95. It's not impossible. Climatologically, and given the setup and the lack of cold air in place, it's highly unlikely, I think, based on what I was showing you there. But we certainly will be watching that and seeing what happens. But just wanted to show you that very, very complex setup here. We had a couple of similar setups, earlier this year, and the tendency has been for these northern branch features to dig more than the GFS has. The GFS has been horrible with it. It keeps trying to keep it progressive, and it doesn't dig it enough. And the other models have won out every time. And I think that's going to happen this time. The details of where there's snow, where there's not snow, where there's a mix, it's way, way too early to talk about that. But like I said, right now, given what I'm seeing, I think the best chances for snow is going to be kind of in this area, like this. That's kind of what I'm thinking is our best chance for snow at this point. And that, when I say snow, I don't just mean a trace. I mean, several inches of snow. We could be looking at 5, 6, 7, up in here over a foot. Some places maybe even more. 18 inches are possible. Some of the higher mountains, Vermont, New Hampshire, things like that. But again, I can't put any definite numbers on any one spot, and we'll just have to see how these details all work out. Okay, that was it. I just wanted to show you guys that. Hope you all have a great day and happy tracking.